I want to close off on the subject of fertility because it was heavily asked by our audience. And I guess I'm well placed to ask some of these questions because I'm in that journey myself of trying to have a child at the moment. Natalie, you have 5 fertility non-negotiables that you talk about.
And I think it's really important to think about, for too long, we've been told, your fertility is luck, but there are things that we do that will inherently also harm our fertility and our hormonal health and make it harder to get pregnant. And so these are all things that we make active choices on that we have to start paying attention to and kind of changing. Women are born with all the eggs you're ever going to have. As that egg count starts to drop over time, the other really, really big important factor is that our eggs have been in our body our whole life. That's why it's harder to get pregnant and why we see an increase in miscarriage as we age. But also, concurrently, our metabolic health is poor as we are older too. And
so shouldn't we then be freezing our eggs?
As a society, if we are purposefully delaying childbearing, we know that it gets harder to get pregnant with age. And if having kids is a life goal, putting eggs into the freezer earlier is a way to save that opportunity. And that's the part of the discussion that we do have to start to have earlier is, if this is a life goal for you, what do we need to do? Understand our body better, our fertility better, and maybe that does include freezing eggs because it does give many women an opportunity that time would eliminate.
I had a conversation with you, Natalie, on the podcast, but then many other women over the course of the last 2 to 3 years. And one of the things that I learned from that was that we, as you say, we don't family plan, and then we have to deal with the consequences of not family planning. So I was like, listen, I've seen too many women over the age of 35, maybe sort of under the age of 50, but really under the age of 45, in tears in front of me. I think we should have a conversation about this. And after, honestly, 5 minutes of that conversation, I think the framing that flipped her mood was that wouldn't we want to give ourselves the option? And it's actually about having options.
Especially if you live a healthy life, you think, oh, this will be easy for me. Or if you're a high achiever and you've achieved other things, many women are really taken aback by not being able to achieve this or not having control over infertility and what is a natural process to run out of eggs and to go into menopause.
So would the message be to young men and women that want to have kids at some point in their life to freeze their eggs in their 20s?
Most people in their 20s maybe don't have good awareness of these goals, but certainly your later 20s, your early 30s are the prime opportunity where you still, for the average person, you're going to have a high number of eggs. You're still high on the graph, and your egg quality is still going to be high, meaning it's going to be easier to get the outcome that you want.